The supply is low, but there's no shortage of memes, jokes, and discussion about crawfish. It used to be the hot topic over the boil was size and flavor, but now, if there's a boil at all, the chatter is over two things: availability and price. Hi, I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us. Kristen Oaks-White will join us a little bit later in the show. In years past, once the street sweepers trucked through the French Quarter, Louisiana's focus shifted from king cake to crawfish. But with a record drought paired with heavy saltwater intrusion up the state's waterways, the crawfish season is well behind where it normally is. As Josh Meeks reports, many farmers are finding disappointing catches if they're bothering to check their traps at all.
For crawfish farmers Brant and Jason Lamb, it's been one thing after another.
It's something every day. With the farming, the freeze didn't help. That killed some stubble.
This season has been an uphill battle from the beginning. First it was drought, then saltwater intrusion, then the hard freezes. Now it's birds.
We've been shooting geese out every day. You know, it's hard enough to try to catch crawfish and make a profit and having to fight geese.
The geese are getting to his crawfish before he can, so he's having to spend a lot of money to protect a few that he can get in the traps. That's if the egrets don't pluck the bait out first.
It's a whole different ball game this year. This is going to be a year just surviving.
Out of their 1,500 acres of ponds in Acadia Parish, he's collecting just a handful of sacks because the crawfish haven't been able to bounce back from Mother Nature's thrashing of Louisiana last year.
The last 2 weeks it has gotten a lot better compared to what it was. Still nowhere near what we do on a normal year.
In neighboring Vermilion Parish, you'll see plenty of crawfish ponds, but not many traps.
This is a pretty widespread issue. I don't know how many acres or how many people, but certain areas, Gaydon in particular, Lake Arthur, a lot of these areas had no water. So me, my neighbors, really anybody in this area is going through the exact same issues, losing substantial amounts of our acreage.
Connor Popek spent the beginning of the season fighting with saltwater. When the rains didn't come, he pumped what he could, but ultimately decided it wasn't worth the cost for what was likely going to be a miserable crop.
The decision was made for me just due to the weather. This farm and most the Vermilion Parish farms, with the canals being dry and not having any water or vegetation growth, even into January 1st, some fields never really could get flooded unless we got the right amount of rain. So you know that those crawfish burrows being dry that long, there's no chance of catching anything.
Popek and other Louisiana Farm Bureau crawfish leaders recently went to Washington, D.C. to get congressional attention on drought. While much of the Southeast saw little rain, crawfish makes Louisiana's situation unique.
Most of our efforts try to get the Secretary of Agriculture to change a disaster program, emergency livestock assistance program. It covers crawfish on a number of things, but drought's just not one of them. And so we've gone to the agency level, but also to Capitol Hill to hopefully get Congress to instruct USDA to make that change.
Unfortunately, there's no timeline on when that change could happen. In the meantime, these farmers can only keep moving forward, focusing on the next thing.
Each week we've seen a little jump, so I think it's going to get a little better, but like I said, it's nowhere where it needs to be. And everybody thinks the price is high, but it's costing us that much to do it. Now, we need to have a happy medium. We need to catch the come up so where the consumers can afford to eat them.
Obviously, we're going to be planting in 3 weeks, so my decision is to try to lean more on the rice now.
For This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Josh Meeks.
Connor Popek says this season is setting the stage for future crops. With so few crawfish in the fields, it's unlikely farmers will be able to restock their levels to something resembling normal for 1 or maybe even 2 years. Looking across the state, we are seeing prices come down from the double digits we saw last week. In the capital city, we found prices as low as $5.99 a pound for live crawfish, $7.49 a pound for boiled. Up north, they are a little higher, $8.99 a pound for live crawfish in Shreveport, $9.95 a pound for boiled crawfish there. Now, while these are the lowest prices we could find, there are still some sellers out there asking as much as $15 a pound for boiled crawfish. Now, make sure wherever you're getting them to do two things. One, check those prices before you go to buy them. They change at least every week. And two, make sure you're getting Louisiana crawfish, which is why the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board reminds you to always ask before you eat. New official numbers are in from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and they highlight a bleak and unfortunately expected picture of the current state of farming. According to the 2022 Census of Agriculture published this week, the number of farmers and ranchers in the state dropped 9% over the last 5 years, now down to just 25,000. But the report is not all doom and gloom. The census shows a rise in the number of new and beginning farms. Those are farms in operation for 10 or fewer years. The number of younger farmers is also increasing. Some other highlights: Louisiana produced $4.8 billion in ag products. That's up from $3.1 billion in 2017. In 2022, just more than 1/3 of farms in Louisiana turned a profit. When you think of water buffalo, you might think of Asia and rice fields. However, one Louisiana producer is trying to bring them home. This week, Neil Melancon takes us to Bayou Sarah Farms, where you might be surprised to learn you've probably tried water buffalo products before.
Just like the name implies, these water buffalo love water, and these ponds were made just for them. Sarah Rowland loves her animals and has been hoping to make a living with them. She says they've actually helped improve this land.
Kind of helps to eliminate erosion, but it also, they have water to drink, and they enjoy swimming in it, and they actually can swim underwater. And they go underwater, and then they'll just kind of be under for a while, and then their heads pop up like an alligator. They can stay underwater for up to a minute.
Rowland says they're not just good for meat, but for milk and milk products as well. In fact, one famous Italian cheese is traditionally made from water buffalo milk.
Most people don't know it, but the traditional mozzarella of Italy is from the milk of water buffalo. And so in Italy, specifically southern Italy, water buffalo are everywhere, and they have dairies making all the mozzarella cheese.
In addition to water buffalo, Sarah raises chickens here on the farm with a unique approach to rotational grazing. Instead of moving the birds, she moves the whole coop. It's part of the innovative hands-on approach that keeps her pastures healthy as well.
I let the animals fertilize the pastures, and I also do rotating chickens through my pastures as well. That helps to fertilize the fields, and I'm seeing some pretty significant results.
You would think with such farm fresh products, Sarah would be selling out each week. However, due to permitting issues, she's had trouble finding ways to get buffalo products legally to market.
USDA actually showed up to my farm, told me that so long as I wasn't putting beef or pork in the meat, that it was a fine thing, that I could keep selling it and that it was okay. But then the next day, the Department of Health showed up where I was selling my meat and basically raided them and made them go through all their freezers and fridges, and took all of my meat and opened all the packages and poured bleach on them.
Sarah has had to have off-farm jobs to continue to support her operation and the dream of living a rural agricultural lifestyle.
There needs to be space for small farms. There needs to be space for healthily raised products. And so I'm not sure where it came from, but that's been my goal, and I'm sticking to it.
Now, this is like a farmer's cheese, right? Like a chev that comes from water buffalo. I've tasted it already, and it's got a freshness to it that I just haven't ever had before. It's wonderfully tasting. Unfortunately, you can't get this in any stores, but hopefully with some change, you'll be able to buy it in the near future. Reporting from St. Francisville, I'm Neil Melancon.
Now, that cheese is not currently available for sale, but you can visit the farm on your own. You'll find a link on our website at twilatv.org. This past week, hundreds of 4-H and FFA youth traveled to Gonzales, Louisiana for the 89th annual LSU Ag Center Livestock Show. It's at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center, where students show off their hard work raising livestock. Louisiana 4-H Livestock Ambassador Hayden Daigle says these shows are about more than walking an animal through a ring.
So projects like this have really shown me how to be better at my time management skills, because you have to time when you want to get your goat to the ring or get ready to come and show. And it teaches a lot of responsibility as well. You have to get your animals ready, and you have to be very responsible in terms of doing that as far as feeding and watering. And it also teaches a lot of hard work, because it teaches you to be ready and be there to make sure all your animals are ready no matter what.
Congratulations to all of this year's winners. Because of the Lenten season, crawfish is the Louisiana treat on most people's mind. But if you're looking for fresh produce grown right here in Louisiana, we know just the place to find that. TWILA's Karl Wiggers traveled down to the Red Stick Farmers Market to check out what's in season now and what's on the way.
It's a quiet Thursday morning here at the Red Stick Farmers Market. and folks in Baton Rouge are lining up for some fresh produce from local farms and makers, like this table from Frank Fekete Farm in Hungarian Settlement.
Well, right now we're starting with spinach. We have our green onions, our carrots, our broccoli is almost out, more carrots, Swiss chard like a spinach, beets, golden beets, turnips, and mustard greens. Typically, the first thing to go is always our carrots, our spinach, and our green onions.
There is one thing everyone is missing on these tables: strawberries.
We did have them, they froze. They're coming back in a minute. I'm thinking about 2 weeks. They'll be ready to pick.
Brumfield says they did harvest some before the freeze that were incredible, but customers are hungry for more.
Yes, they ask me every week. Our customers come looking for them, and every week, same thing.
One thing those customers will notice is the change they see on these tables in the coming weeks, which is just the nature of a fresh product coming from Louisiana soils.
Now, everything's almost out of season, I would say. We're gonna start having our squash, zucchini, cucumbers, bell pepper, corn for sure. Everybody loves the corn. Here we go. You have a great day. Thank you.
Now, if you're in the Baton Rouge area and would like to find everything here at these tables, from fresh pastries to fresh produce, you can find them here at the Pennington Research Center on Thursday mornings from 8 to 12, right here at the corner of Perkins and Kenilworth, or on Saturday mornings at the downtown Farmers Market. That's the Red Stick Farmers Market here in Baton Rouge. Now, if you're not in Baton Rouge and other corners of the state and would like to find a farmers market in your neighborhood, head over to our website at twilatv.org and we'll link you to a full list of farmers markets across the state. Reporting from my neighborhood here in Baton Rouge, I'm Karl Wiggers for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
Still to come on TWILA, if you're able to get your hands on some crawfish, it might not be enough for a boil. Well, Kristen Oaks-White will be in the kitchen with a recipe that just might scratch that crawfish itch.
You're watching This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week.
Welcome to Feasting on Agriculture. I'm Kristen Oaks-White, and today we're in Morganza, Louisiana at Four Oaks Crawfish Farm. It's crawfish season, and in Louisiana, it's the most wonderful time of the year. However, this year, farmers are having a tough go, which means supply is low and the prices are high. We're going to find out why that's the case.
Feasting on Agriculture is brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, Louisiana Crawfish, ask before you eat, and by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, beef, it's what's for dinner, and by the Louisiana Rice Promotion Board, think rice.
Matt, thank you so much for welcoming us back out to your crawfish farm. I've got a special guest today, Jim Anderson. He's going to be whipping up a dish
Matt.
with that, but he's never been to a crawfish farm, so let's show him what it's all about.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to show him. We out here on the farm, and this is about 1,000 acres right here. And we're going to go get in the boats and see what we got in the trap.
Go. Let's go.
Look at this chicken wire.
Yeah, we got hold them chickens in there. Get in there, Jim.
We've got a little bit different situation going on this year in terms of crawfish season. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, this is really historic what's going on with the crawfish industry this year. You know, we went through a summer that was record heat, over about 60 days of the hottest that it's ever been, and no rain. And so these crawfish are, you know, they died in a barrel. They just couldn't find water. We have whales, water whales, 15 whales on this farm, and 3 had to be extended down to go get the water to pump for them. And then that hurt the crawfish because they were looking for that water too. And they had to bury deeper, and then they had to come out. It's going to be twice as far, you know, hard for them to come out. So, yeah, really, a whole bunch different.
There were how many? 3?
Yeah, 3.
How many?
Oh, no, we normally, like right now, of that size, we would be 12, you know, something like that, 8 to 12, and that's about a pound. Nobody is really making money in this situation. The farmer got to run a half a day to catch one sack. And it doesn't matter where they're at. I'm talking about anywhere from here to Texas. It's the same story. So the dry weather has affected our crop of crawfish. The ones that we're catching, they're immature because they delayed coming out the ground, so they're immature. Well, immature crawfish will not live. They're too soft, they're vulnerable, and they get damaged and they won't live. That crawfish is not ready to catch. And I'll take one that I say
here, I'll cook him.
Is ready, and this is one that is
he's harder.
It's harder, and I could still push on it, but it's hard. He's all right. That's a crawfish I wouldn't mind catching. We do think that we could salvage something.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a lot, and because we're going to need those crawfish to reseed different ponds that aren't showing up to have crawfish.
See, you have a water table. The water table here is real shallow because of the Mississippi River and the Chapalaya. Okay. We're in the middle of the Chapalaya. Look, see that levee? Right. That's the Chapalaya. Okay. And you right over, not that levee, but there's another one, and that's the Mississippi River. Got so it. That when them rivers are up, you know, like it's been, last summer they went real low. Right. So there went our water table. Okay. And it hurt our crawfish.
I'm not predicting that we're not going to have any crawfish, but whatever we have is going to be significantly less than what we did last year, for sure. And it may affect us next year. That's another concern to everybody.
So if you get your hands on some this year, count your blessings.
Yeah, if you could find them, and hopefully they live. You know, they're not, half of them are not dead in a sack, because that's going to be big this year. They're real soft. They're immature, and we need more time, you know, because of the cold weather that we had. So it's been a unique thing. But look, the crawfish been around way longer than we have, and they survived all of them years. They'll be here sooner or later.
When we come back, Chef Jim Anderson is going to head into the kitchen and we're going to whip up some of these crawfish in a very creative dish you don't want to miss. Stay with us. We're back from the crawfish pond and we're going to make these crawfish the star of this dish, and we've got a special Mr. Jim Anderson. And Jim, I have to give a little backstory. We met when you were running your taco truck outside of the brewery, and I have discovered the time that I've known you that you are one of the most creative and hardest working chefs in the Miss Lou. So you've got some really creative dishes and you brought one here for us today. So tell me what we're going to cook.
All right, thanks, Kristen. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some cheese and some vegetables and crawfish. We got hot grease, fixing to fry it. Watch. Okay. Going to take it.
Put me to work.
Okay, here's what you're going to do. Let's give you these 2 plates here. I'm going to take these here. I'm going to give you that. That is our eggplant.
We're going to do an egg bath, right? See,
we're going to take this right here, which is sausage.
Okay.
Italian sausage, and we got some fresh mozzarella peppers.
Okay. Bell peppers, all the good stuff.
All that good stuff. Okay, we're going to dump it in there like that with that fresh mozz. Here we go. Here's some butter.
Okay.
Into a skillet. All right, then we're going to take some. This is tomatoes and onion. This is going to be the smoked tomato cream sauce. I'm sorry. All right, so what you're going to do, I'm just showing you what we're going to do.
Okay.
You can do it on that plate. We're going to flatten this down like that, and then we roll. And then if you take this, rosemary, and just pull it, start at the top. Wrong pot right there.
No stems, right?
No stems. Just start at the top and wing it down. And they're coming behind you.
Okay. Yes, Chef.
Let's see what this does. Scoot that over a little bit.
Okay.
Is we got some heavy cream. And you'll dump the crawfish tails in this for me.
Okay.
Just, right here, see these tails?
Yeah.
Dump them in that.
Which one?
Right here.
Okay.
All right. And then we just put just a little bit of cream in there, and we'll set this back. Stir that around on this other side.
Okay.
Just stir that for me and keep it going. And then in just a minute, when that starts bubbling down, you can just dump those green onions in it, and then look, here we go. Here's a little piece of butter right here. Get all that melting.
And it's reducing down to a
It's
nice
risen down,
cream sauce.
correct.
It looks and smells really good.
I'll put just a tiny bit more cream.
We're bubbling here.
Okay, go in there, here we go. Got the eggplant. Whoop, whoop.
That seems like
So,
something you got some expertise with. It looks spectacular, so let's go get a fork
let's
and
get a
try
fork.
this.
Let's get a fork.
Okay, so Jim,
You
now
first. You do the honors.
The proof is in the pudding. Let's dig in. We need a piece of
Eggplant.
crawfish, eggplant,
Get the sausage.
all
More
the
crawfish. There you go. Got it.
It's wonderful. You can taste all of the flavors of all of those herbs. The crawfish is really highlighted.
Wow,
The
look.
sauce is great. Oh my goodness. Like I said, truly creative. This dish is so wonderful, and if you guys want to try to make this at home, we've got a link and a blog post on our website, twilatv.org. Thanks so much for joining us for Feasting on Agriculture. We'll see you next time.
Feasting on Agriculture was brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, Louisiana Crawfish, ask before you eat, and by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, beef, it's what's for dinner, and by the Louisiana Rice Promotion Board, think rice.
Before we go, and keeping in the theme of crawfish, a clip from Season 8 of MasterChef is making the rounds online, and many Louisianians have, well, questions about how Gordon Ramsay prepares crawfish.
So first things first, salted water. Lightly season that water. Now, these things are wild. Getting bit 2 or 3 times is normal. Water up to the boil, in. 1, 2, 3, and then finish with the rest of them in there. Lid back on. Now, that's the humane way to kill them, straight into boiling water. The secret here is the quicker you cook them, the easier they are to get out of that shell. 15 seconds. Now, out. In. Overcook them, and they turn to mush. Now, claws, body, turn and twist. Really important, you put your thumb underneath and twist. And then open up the tail, lightly crack that shell, and then peel. These tails should come out in perfect order.
That light seasoning you threw in there, yeah, that was just salt. And the 15-second boil? Gordon, you know, I'm not one to criticize a man who currently holds 8 Michelin stars, but, well, let's just say if ever you want to come cook on our show, the door is always open. We just may have someone here to give you a few tips. Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we'll take you to Washington, D.C., where Louisiana Farm Bureau young farmers and ranchers are bringing their concerns to Capitol Hill. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You'll find these stories and more on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. That way you know when we put something new out there. For all of us here at TWILA, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.